We'd like to welcome everybody here to Club Hill Elementary for this wonderful day, our Veterans Day program. I'm going to introduce a couple of students first, and we're going to do our pledges. So students, in just a minute, very quietly, you will stand up and we'll face the flag. We'll do the American pledge. And then after that, you'll have a seat, and I'll introduce some of our very important people that are here with us today. Okay? Leading us in the pledge today are Brownies Amberly Perez and Chloe Pugh, and Junior Girl Scouts Sarah Woodbury and Zoe Chu. If you would stand up, we'll do the American pledge.
Y'all stand up close. Good. Go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Okay, we are here today to honor some very special people who have served our country, and before we recognize them, we're going to recognize some of our special guests that are here today. From the Garland Independent School District, we have our Executive Director of Communication, Chris Moore. We have our Executive Director of Human Resources, Jed Reed. Our Executive Director of Maintenance, Joel Falcone. And my direct boss that we need to really cheer for, our Area Director of Area 2, Dr. Wendy Eldridge. We also have from Time Warner Cable, and you'll hear from him shortly, we have Clem Maddox. State Representative Cindy Burkett. District Director Barbara Reese. And Garland City Council Stephen Stanley. And it looks like, just walking up, we have our Associate Superintendent, Dr. Javon Wells. All right, I'm going to turn it over right now to the Director of Government Relations from Time Warner Cable, Clem Maddox.
Good morning. Does everybody know where Austin, Texas is? Okay, so what is Austin, Texas? It's the capital of Texas, right? Okay, well, what I'm going to do is introduce Representative Cindy Burkett. She is a member of the Texas State Legislators. There's 150 state legislators, and she is representing District 113. She's been in office now since 2010. So I want you to raise your flag over your head and give a great round of applause for Representative Cindy Burkett.
Thank you. Thank you, kids. You guys are awesome. Gentlemen and ladies over here to my left, your right, this is what you guys fought for. And I appreciate y'all so much. And I appreciate you kids and all of you teachers that educate our children. Thank you. It's a job that not everybody does, but I so appreciate everything you do as well. Okay, we have recognized, what is today? Thank you. We recognize this day for almost 100 years. At the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918, that's way before any of us were born, the guns of World War II went silent and Armistice Day was born. 8 years later, there was a presidential proclamation inviting people to observe the day with ceremonies like we're doing here today. With the passage of time, they changed that to Veterans Day, and it's now a national focal point for our veterans so that we can recognize them. Congress in 1926 passed a resolution for an annual observance of the day in 1938, and it became the official part of our national holidays. Anybody recognize the name President Dwight D. Eisenhower? He was our president in 1954, and he signed legislation changing the name to Veterans Day to honor all of our veterans in all of our wars, not just the Second World War. November 11th, 1921, we had an American soldier that was killed in war and buried at the Arlington National Cemetery, but we didn't know who he was. So it's become a very famous place that we had one of our veterans buried. It's called the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. And every Veterans Day, an official wreath is laid at that tomb in recognition of all of our veterans. And it's something, usually the president or another very high-ranking government official lays that wreath on the grave. You know, our nation's soldiers serve every day to protect our country and to protect our ideals. And where do we get our liberties and our freedoms? From our Constitution. So these ladies and gentlemen over here are over there defending our Constitution and our liberties and our rights. My dad was an Air Force veteran. My husband was an Air Force veteran. My brother was an Army veteran. My brother-in-law was a Navy veteran. How many people in here have a veteran in their family? Raise your hand. Wow. This is great because you've got people in your family that are out there defending you, defending our country, and making sure that our rights are there for us always. So it's a big sacrifice that our veterans make, and we really appreciate it. It's a big sacrifice that their families make. You kids out here that have veterans in your families, you know what I'm talking about. The parents that we have in the back that have veterans in your family, these veterans need your support, your emotional support, as well as our support as a country. So I want to recognize Veterans Day. I'm pleased to be able to share this time with you to honor these folks. And I'd like to close with a quote from Reverend Billy Graham. I know this is an unusual quote to be using, but Billy Graham says, "Courage is contagious. When a brave man takes a stand, the spines of others are often stiffened." So thank you, each of you veterans, for spreading your courage to us. And thank you, children, for having me here today. I appreciate y'all. Y'all keep doing good work. Thank you.
Councilman, why don't you come on and I'll let you do this honor.
Yay, flowers. One more. Aren't they pretty kids? Y'all, thank you. Thank you.
One more. Okay, one final note from me. Because this is such a special day, the same thing we did for Representative Cindy Burkett, I want you to do for our veterans over here. So raise your flags over your head and say, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes. All right, sir.
Always high, high. Sometimes I think about America.
And at this time, what we're going to do is we are going to recognize our veterans. So if they would stand up for a round of applause from all of us here. We appreciate your service to the United States.
Well, the storm